Nice. All right. So go ahead and get started with your supported back bend. And on this nice Friday, maybe in your supported back bend or just lying down on your back, you will bend your knees and walk your feet towards your hips and create a little bend here in your hips just to take some of the pressure off the low back is a nice option here. I'll take it through a few rounds of breath here before you start to change anything, before you start to lengthen the breath or anything like that, just noticing how the breath feels. I read an article. It wasn't an article, just kidding. It was somebody's Instagram post. It was just like a graphic that talked about the importance of breath, and it cited a study that occurred over 2 decades and like 5,000 people. So a pretty sizable, at least that sounds like a pretty sizable study sample size. And it was looking at indicators of long-term health and also indicators, morbidities, right? So indicators of likelihood of dying soon. And the most important factor that this particular study found in longevity was not just heart health, not just not heart disease or obesity or diabetes. It was lung capacity. Was the ability of the subjects to have and use their full lung capacity was strongly affiliated with longevity. So I just thought that was really interesting, and it made me want to maybe read a little bit more about it just to see, what the ins and outs are of the study. But all that to say, the work that we do at the beginning of our practice is not wasted. The ability to deepen the breath and use the space in the lungs, and by using the space in the lungs to perhaps expand the available space that is there, is worthwhile. And so let's take these next few breaths even deeper than perhaps the long and slow breaths that you were taking up until this point. So maybe allow yourself a few longer, deeper, richer, fuller breaths here. So I was reading a book last week. I started a book called Story Brand by Donald Miller. And it's a book that is worth reading for anyone who is in the marketing world. But honestly, it's a book that's worth reading for anyone who writes anything ever. And so that's emails, that's anybody who writes a bio for a website, or who wants to get people to do something with their words. And so this is, it's the sort of book that anyone should read. But one of the things he talks about is that good messages come from a place of that I, as the speaker, am the hero. Like Luke Skywalker, he used the illustration of Star Wars. So Luke Skywalker being the hero. Instead, can I, the speaker, come from a place as Yoda, as the guide? And he said something that really has kind of resonated with me over the last week, is that the purpose of life, right? The goal of communication, but really the purpose of all things in life, is to spend as little time in life as the hero and transition as quickly and efficiently to the role of the guide as you possibly can. And that is an indicator of wisdom. And that just really stuck with me, because I think that is so true. And I think that applies to so many areas of our life, is that the role of the hero is to learn and to hone the skills and to build your capacity and to build your fame, if you will, and to increase in status. But once you've done that, it is natural and even essential to transition from the role of the hero into the role of the guide, and that the role of the guide serves to develop other heroes, and the role of the guide sets their ego aside and comes from a place of sharing and a place of go here, don't go there, and here's what I've learned along the way, and I want you to be better than I am. And I think that so many people in this world stay in the role of the hero for too long. And what would it look like if more people, more of us, myself included, transitioned into the role of the guide and looked around for who we could develop and who we could mentor and who we could share what we have learned with, because we all have something to share, believe it or not. I truly believe that everyone has a message, everyone has wisdom, everyone has experience, life experience. If you've lived at all, you have some life experience. And so I encourage you to think of ways that you can perhaps start to share what you know with people, with others in your life, and maybe start to move from the role of the hero into the role of the guide. So with that, go ahead and press the elbows into the earth, lift your body off the block if you haven't done so, and just set the block off to the side. And here on your back, reach the arms overhead, point the toes toward the front, take a deep breath and a full body stretch. And on the exhale, hug both knees to the chest, rounding the spine, picking the head and shoulders off the mat and the tailbone. And inhale to extend, reach. And again, hug the knees to the chest, rounding the spine, exploring that range of motion. Last time, inhale, reach, extend. And this time, just set your arms alongside of your body. You might cactus your arms, or you might make a T with your arms out shoulder level. And let's just start by taking a few scorpions. And so pick up your right leg and draw it across the body to the left. And then you might tap the knee on the earth, or you might just take it to the point that you're starting to feel a little bit of a twist, and then to bring it back to center. And then let's do left over right. And so go ahead and take it away on your own time, on your own pace. If you want to do these quickly, if you want to do these slowly, if you want to kind of maybe stay for a full round of breath and really lean into it, then that's awesome too. There's no right or wrong way to do these, as long as you are operating within what is comfortable for you here at the beginning, and still always at the beginning of your practice playing that role of the curious observer. Based on what you've been up to today or yesterday, this sequence of movements might feel a little different than it does some days. And so show up without expectation. All right. And now one more time, hug the knees to the chest and start to roll up and down the length of the spine, up to the neck, down to the tailbone. And then when you're ready, cross over the ankles and take it forward into a tabletop position, right into cat-cow as we do. Inhale as you lengthen the sternum forward, gaze goes up. Exhale to round the spine, tuck the chin to the chest. Inhale. Exhale to round. Inhale for the back bend. Exhale to round. Forward, backward flexion of the spine. All right, and then pick up the right leg, press the right heel back behind you and have the leg in line with the hip. And then pick up the left arm, reach the left fingertips forward. And so we're going to cross the midline here. Take an inhale. And as you exhale, tap your knee to your elbow. Maintain your balance though. Inhale to extend. Exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale to extend. Take it through 3 or 4 full rounds of breath on your own time. Notice how picking up 2 of your limbs requires an added measure of balance and stabilization here. All right, and then on the next exhale, take it back to tabletop, and we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Pick up the left leg, press the left heel back behind you, and then pick up the right arm. Inhale to reach. Exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale, reach. Exhale, knee to elbow. And take it away on your own time, on your own pace. I'll just remind you that even when you're extending your arm and your leg back behind you, don't just relax your abdominals into a little back bend. Keep a measure of core tension in the belly to maintain stability and neutral as you lengthen and straighten out from fingers to heel. All right, take it back to tabletop. And then let's shift some body weight forward into the wrists for a moment. So you might walk your knees closer to the heels of your wrists. So you can start to maybe increase the percentage of body weight that's on your hands and maybe start to rock your hands right, left, right, left. And maybe start to draw some big circles with the shoulders around the wrists. Keep the elbows straight. And so as you are starting to mobilize the wrists, you're also obviously starting to warm and stretch into the forearms. Switch directions if you haven't already. All right, now also go ahead and lift the heels of the hands off the earth and come into just your fingers. And so you're starting to stretch the fingers back here. And maybe rock the hands to the right, to the left. It's not every day that we get the chance to really focus on our fingers, our hands. All right, now go ahead and take the body weight off the hands for a moment. You can sit back on your heels and start to do some wrist rollouts without any weight here. And you might flip them forward and back, side to side. It is pretty amazing how much your wrists can do. The fact that you can articulate them in 360 degrees. All right, now bring your hands back down to the earth. And this time I want you to put the backs of your hands on the mat. And so your fingers are pointing back toward your feet. And now you'll notice that there's a slightly different sensation in the forearm stretch here. And if it's comfortable for you, so as in if this is not the first time you've done this, so if this is comfortable for you, then maybe start to draw some little circles with the shoulders around the wrist. But if just the mere fact of putting weight on the backs of your hands starts to set alarm bells off, then you can, only do what feels nice for you here in the beginning. By the way, I've seen people do push-ups on the backs of their hands like this. So your wrist can take it, but it takes a little bit of maybe building up to it. All right, now shift your body weight back onto your heels again. And one more time, give your wrist a little shake out, a little roll out. All right, now while we're here seated in this kneeling position, which by the way, I've got the tops of my feet on the earth, and so this is a little bit of an ankle stretch here. Also, depending on your quad flexibility, this might be a stretch for your quadricep. We're not going to spend a lot of time here, but if at any point this gets really uncomfortable, you could slip a block underneath your tailbone, or you could just bring your feet out from underneath you. But this is worth building up some comfort level in this kneeling position for ankle mobility. And also, it's nice for creating a nice straight spine here. All right, so let's go ahead and start to just get some arm swings here. So swinging the arms right over left, left over right. And all the while, nice deep breaths into the belly. All right, come back to center and then inhale, arms overhead. Reach nice and tall, lift out of both sides of the waist. Exhale, hands to heart center. Let's do a couple more of these. Inhale, arms overhead, reach. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center. All right, one last thing that we're going to do in this seated kneeling position, then we'll get us out of it, is a little side bend. So inhale, arms overhead. And then on the exhale, plant the left hand on the earth. And I've just got my fingertips on the earth. And so you don't have to be able to settle your whole hand onto the earth. It's just there for support. And go ahead and reach up and over to the left. Maybe even shift your gaze up toward the sky. Soften your left shoulder down and away from the ear as you find length down the whole right side waist from hip to shoulder. Inhale back to center. Other side, exhale up and over to the right. So the right shoulder softens toward the earth as the left shoulder softens toward the sky. Release into that left side waist, gaze goes up. Inhale back to center, one more time each side. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And then let's shift our body weight forward onto our hands, curl the toes under and take it back to downward facing dog and really start to explore into downward facing dog. Pedal the feet right, left. Since you were sitting on your ankles in that extended position for a while, it might feel really nice to lean into one Achilles and the other. And maybe you might even try rolling out your ankles in downward facing dog. What would it look like to make big circles with your ankles around the balls of the feet? Just as the wrists have a lot of mobility to them, the ankles do as well. All right, so from downward facing dog, let's take it through a couple flows from plank to downward facing dog. Inhale forward to plank. Shoulders are in line with hips. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, forward to plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, forward to plank. And on the exhale, lower all the way to the mat. Elbows shave the ribs, lower with control. Uncurl the toes. Inhale, cobra, gaze is forward, neck is long. Let's do two more. Exhale. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, chin back down, really active in the upper back, the muscles along the spine. Inhale, cobra. So we're not putting any body weight in the hands. It's all in the upper back. Exhale, chin back down, and press it back to child's pose just for a few moments. Big toes touch, knees nice and wide. Reach the arms forward. And here in child's pose, you might try walking the elbows toward one another just to create a little bit of openness in the upper back. All right, so from child's pose, bring it back up to tabletop, and let's pick up the right foot, bring it forward outside the right pinky, and start to draw some little knee circles with the hip. And then step it back to tabletop. Other side, pick up the left leg, and step the left foot forward outside the left pinky. Nice deep breath. All right, take it back to tabletop. Look down at the hands, spread the fingers nice and wide, straighten up the elbows, curl the toes under, take an inhale. And on the exhale, straighten the legs, lift the hips, take it back to downward facing dog. All right, as you're looking back at your feet, I want you to try to keep your legs perfectly straight, or at least as straight as you possibly can, as you walk your feet inch by inch forward to the top of the mat. So think of this as like a little elephant walk, right? And so you're lifting from the hips as you walk, not the knees, right, left, a little march all the way to the top of the mat. Come into a forward fold. And on the inhale, halfway lift, lengthen the crown of the head forward, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale to stand, sweep the arms overhead, reach. Exhale, pull that breath to heart center. We're going to take it through a couple half sun salutations here at the top of the mat. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale to stand, sweep the arms. Exhale, pull that breath to heart center. Let's do it again. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale to stand, sweep the arms. Exhale, pull that breath to heart center. All right, so we're going to give our hamstrings a little bit of a break and take some movement in the upper body. So we're going to do side bending, and then we're going to spend a lot of time on our rotations here because we're going to take the rotations into crescent lunge and have a little bit of fun with it. So inhale, arms overhead. And on the exhale, plant the right hand alongside left hand alongside the left hip and reach up and over to the left. Nice long side stretch. Inhale back to center. Exhale up and over to the right. Inhale, bring it back to center. Exhale to the left. Inhale back to center. Exhale to the right. Inhale, bring it to center. Exhale, rotate to the left. Drop the arms in line with the shoulders. Inhale to center. Exhale to the left. Drop the arms in line with the shoulders. Maybe shift your gaze toward the back of the room. Inhale to center. Exhale, twist to the left. Inhale to center. Exhale, twist to the right. Inhale to center. Exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the mat, walk or float back to plank. Take it through a vinyasa flow of your choice. Lower with the exhale, back bend with the inhale, downward facing dog with the exhale. 2 long, slow breaths in downward facing dog. See just how much volume, how much quality and depth and elasticity of the breath you can explore, even here in downward facing dog. At the end of that next exhale, glance up at the hands, walk, step, or float your feet to the top of the mat, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale to stand, sweep the arms. Exhale, pull that breath to heart center. All right, we're going to take it through a similar sun salutation flow, this time focusing on rotations in the upper back. So inhale, arms overhead. Rotate the arms to the left on the exhale. Inhale, arms overhead. To the right on the exhale. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, fold, bend the knees, and heel toe your feet about hip distance apart. So I've got a deep knee bend here. Plant the left hand beneath the face, and on the inhale, straighten up the right arm and right leg and reach the right fingertips to the sky. Exhale, back to center, rebend both knees, plant the right hand, inhale, twist to the left. Exhale, back to center. Let's do one more time each side. Inhale and exhale. And inhale and exhale. Right back down to the center. Inhale, hands find the shins, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the earth. Step it back to plank. Take it through a flow. All right, now here's another fun chance to explore a little rotation in the upper back, but this time it's in downward facing dog. So if you've ever tried this before, kind of fun, kind of different. So what I want you to do is I want you to pick up the right hand and see if you can reach back and just tap your left ankle. And then step it back to a regular downward facing dog and do the same thing on the other side. See if you can reach back and tap the right ankle. Okay, so we're crossing the body. Go ahead and do a couple more each side on your own time, on your own pace. You'll notice that it becomes absolutely essential that you really stabilize in the shoulder and in the upper back, because when you're putting your body weight on one arm as opposed to two, it becomes even more critical to stay stable. Nice. Okay, so find downward facing dog again. 2 long, slow breaths. And at the end of that exhale, glance up at the hands, walk, step, or float your feet top of the mat, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale to stand, sweep the arms. Exhale, pull that breath to heart center. All right, release the arms down by your sides and give the shoulders a little bit of a shake. So put the palms forward, forward and back, forward and back. And then just for a moment here, reach back behind you and interlace the hands behind the back all the way up to the webbing and roll the shoulders together. So we're just going to hang out here with a little stretch for the fronts of the shoulders for a moment. Find width across the chest. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. See if you can find even more length and height through the spine, tall through the crown of the head. All right, now release the elbows, or release the hands. Inhale, arms overhead. And let's go through that again. Twist the arms to the left. Inhale, arms overhead. Twist the arms to the right. Inhale, arms overhead. Fold over the legs. Step the feet a little bit wider, maybe hip distance apart. Soft bend in the knees. Plant the right hand. Inhale, reach the left fingertips to the sky. See if you can follow that left hand with your gaze. Exhale, back to center. Other side. Inhale, reach the right fingertips to the sky. Maybe your gaze goes up. Exhale, back to center. One more time each side. Inhale. And exhale. And inhale. And exhale. Take it through a vinyasa. And just for good measure, glance back at your ankles and see if you can do that cross body tap. Couple on each side. You know, when you shift all of your body weight to one shoulder, it changes the way you show up in downward facing dog when it's just regular downward facing dog. So go ahead and actually experiment with that. Come back to a regular downward facing dog and see if you can establish all that shoulder stability from the wrist, through the elbow, through the shoulder, down the side waist, on each arm that you usually do when you're shifting the body weight to one arm. And so it's like you're getting twice as strong, twice as stable. Feels really great in the upper back. All right, inhale, lift the right leg. Exhale, step it through next to the right thumb. Crescent lunge on the inhale. Warrior two on the exhale. Flip the right palm up, inhale, reach forward. Exhale, reverse warrior, gaze goes up. Inhale, back to warrior two. Exhale, circle the hands to the earth, step it back to plank, take it through a flow. Left side, inhale, lift the left leg. Exhale, step it through. Crescent lunge on the inhale. Warrior two on the exhale. Put the left palm up, inhale, reach forward. Exhale, reverse warrior. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale, circle the hands, step back to plank, take it through a flow. And glance up at the hands, walk, step or float your feet to the top of the mat, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale to stand, sweep the arms. Exhale, pull that breath to heart center. All right, step your feet together if they're not already together, so toe heels touching, and we're going to take it into chair pose. So on the inhale, bring the arms overhead, settle the hips down and back, settle the body weight back into the heels, so much so that if you were to glance down at your toes, you could wiggle your toes and you could see them in front of your knees, right? And so I want you to shift your body weight that far back. All right, without changing the orientation of the knees, all right? And so without sliding either knee forward or either hip forward, take an inhale. And I want you to find your twisty upper back to the left. So swing the left arm back behind you and maybe even shift your gaze toward the back of the room. So you're really fighting for that flexibility in the upper back, keeping the left knee from drifting forward or back. Soften the shoulders. Inhale, bring it back to chair pose. Exhale to the right side. So your arms are in line with your shoulders. You're finding that twist, all that contraction between the ribs. Inhale, bring it back to chair pose. One more time each side with the breath. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. And inhale. Forward fold. Exhale. Nice job. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the mat. Take it back to plank, vinyasa, your choice. We'll all meet in downward facing dog. All right, inhale, lift the right leg. Exhale, step it through next to the right thumb. Crescent lunge on the inhale, and this time we're gonna have some fun with it. So from crescent lunge, your right leg is forward. Make sure your right knee is the one that's forward, because on the exhale, you're going to rotate to your right. It only works if you rotate toward your belly button toward the front knee, right? And so your right arm is back behind you. Your left arm is forward. So one more time, just to check in and make sure you're doing it the right way, because if you go the other way, it's just going to take you right into warrior two. All right, but when you're rotating to your right, we're finding that rotation in the upper back while still having that balance going on with crescent lunge with the legs. All right, inhale back to crescent lunge. Exhale, warrior two, nice job. Put the right palm up, inhale, reach forward. Exhale, reverse warrior, gaze goes up. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale, circle the hands, take it through a flow. And whenever I do that twist in crescent lunge, I can really feel that I'm crunching into the side waist of the side that I'm twisting towards. So you might be able to just stretch that out in downward facing dog by really leaning into the heel of one leg, then taking a deep knee bend in the other leg. Maybe experiment with that in downward facing dog. All right, let's go into the other side. Inhale, lift the left leg. Exhale, step it through next to the left thumb. Establish your balance. You know where this is going. Back heel is lifted, arms overhead in crescent lunge. And on the exhale, with control, twist to the left side. Okay, so since you've already done this before, maybe you can start to explore, what does comfort look like in this pose? What does even a sense of ease look like in this pose? What does confidence look like in this pose? Soften your shoulders down and away from the ears. Remember to breathe. And on the next inhale, bring it back to crescent lunge. Warrior two on the exhale. Put the left palm up, inhale, reach forward. Exhale, reverse warrior, gaze goes up. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale, circle the hands and take it through a flow. And if you tried this on the other side in the last downward facing dog, then you might try leaning deep into one heel. So bending one knee really deep as you straighten and put some body weight onto that opposite leg. All right, glance up at the hands and walk your feet forward, top of the mat, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale to stand, sweep the arms. Exhale, pull that breath to heart center. Okay, so we're gonna give our shoulders a little bit of a break. And that's not to say that we're not gonna do any more twisting, but it just means we're not gonna take it through downward facing dog for a couple moments. We're gonna stay up here at the top of the mat for a balancing pose. But since we've been having fun with finding a rotation in the upper back, we're gonna continue that little theme with our balancing pose today. So you can relax your arms down by your sides, or you can bring them to your hips. Sometimes that's kind of nice when working into a balancing pose. So shift all of the body weight to the left leg and bring the right knee up in line with the hip. All right, so we're going to work into this pretty gently. So as always, if this is your balancing pose today, just picking the right knee up and standing on the left leg, you're still doing yoga. You don't need to do any more than this. But if you would like to try a little bit of a variation today, go ahead and inhale, bring the arms overhead. And on the exhale, twist to your right. So again, you're twisting toward that right leg. And something you could do is you might rest the left hand on that right knee just to kind of create a little indicator of where your body is at. If your balance is there, maybe shift your gaze over your right fingertips toward the back of the room. It's amazing how challenging that can get when we're used to looking in front of us when we're balancing. Now you're looking behind you when you're balancing and you're twisting. There's a lot going on here. All right, now with control, before you fall out of it, inhale, bring the arms back overhead. Exhale everything down. Nice. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. Shift all of your body weight to your right leg. Bring the left knee up in line with the hip. Find your balance first. And if you're feeling pretty good about that, inhale, arms overhead. And on the exhale, twist to the left, dropping the arms in line with the shoulders. Press your big toe into the earth. For that matter, press all 5 of your toes into the earth. Think of those as your roots. And if you're trying to turn your gaze toward the back of the room, you might do it bit by bit rather than all at once, rather than just swinging it back there. You might look 1 foot at a time. Move from one thing, move your eyes from one thing that's not moving to the next thing that's not moving. How's your breath? On the next inhale, come on back out of it. And exhale everything down. All right, we're going to get back to our legs and then we'll probably come back to that. One more time. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the mat. Step it back to plank. Take it through a flow. Inhale, lift the right leg. Exhale, step it through halfway. So we're not going all the way through. Go ahead and inhale, come all the way up to standing. Glance down at your feet for a moment. Your both legs are straight. Your feet are on train tracks. We're going into pyramid pose. So inhale, arms overhead. And on the exhale, hinge forward at the hips, nice and flat with the back. And when you reach a flat back, go ahead and drop the hands to your shin. So pretty intense stretch for the right hamstring here. Continue to lengthen the crown of the head forward. If it's accessible to you to have your hands on the earth, then you might go there. Otherwise, you could have your hands on a block. All right, we're going to transition pyramid pose to a revolved triangle. So go ahead and press back up out of it, back to standing. So your body weight is again equal on your 2 feet. And now step your feet a little bit more in line with each other. All right, so rather than having them on train tracks from right to left, they're a little bit more front to back. And now begin similarly, reach the arms overhead, hinge forward, and then as you plant the left hand either on the earth or on a block that's just inside of your, left big toe, see if you can reach the right fingertips toward the sky. So here in a revolved triangle, breathe down the outside of that right leg. So notice all the same component parts to this upper body twist that we've been practicing, only this time we're adding the IT band, we're adding some low back. Take an inhale. And on the exhale, bring that right hand back to the earth, bend the front knee, step it back to plank and take it through a flow. Okay, we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Pyramid to revolve triangle. Inhale, lift the left leg. Exhale, step it halfway through. Come on up to standing. Have your feet on train tracks, so have some space between your feet from right to left. Take an inhale. Exhale, hinge at the hips, reach forward, nice and strong with the back, and on the exhale, Float the hands down to the shin or the floor or your block. If you are particularly flexy, I have seen one expression of pyramid pose that turns into a forward fold over this front leg. And so I've seen people put their face on the front of their shin and reach back and grab hold of their back ankle. That's pretty crazy. Breathe into that left hamstring. All right, we're going to transition this to revolve triangle, but we're going to come out of it just so we can organize ourselves well. All right, so step your feet a little bit more in line with each other. You've got your block just inside of your left big toe. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, reach forward and then down. Plant the right hand and reach the left fingertips up toward the sky. Find that rotation in revolve triangle. Breathe into that left IT band. One more inhale. And on the exhale, hands to the earth, bend that front knee, step it back to plank, take it through a flow. Glance up at the hands, walk, step, or float your feet top of the mat, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale to stand, sweep the arms. Exhale, pull that breath to heart center. Okay, so this set us up nicely for one more standing pose that's similar to the one we did before, only this time if you want to kick the leg straight, kick the right leg straight into like a revolved standing big toe, then that's going to be the next option. So I'll talk us through it all. So for starters, shift all of your body weight to your left foot, bring the right knee up in line with the hip. And then you could either find that rotation just like we did before with the knee bent and the arms in line with shoulders. If you liked that, then go ahead and go back there and maybe notice how things are different. If you would like to reach down with your left hand, all right, so you're reaching across the body, reach down with your left hand, grab hold of that right big toe, and then you're going to kick that right leg straight into the left hand and reach the right fingertips back behind you, shoulder level. Shift your gaze toward the back of the room. Check in with both legs. Are your legs straight? The idea is that you want to have both of your knees straight. Remember to breathe. Notice where your gaze is at. All right, wherever you are, go ahead and unwind with control. Come out of it the way you came into it, and then lightly float that right leg back down to the earth. Nice job. You might give your leg a little shake out. All right, we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So shift all of your body weight to your right leg. Pick up the left knee in line with the hip. And just like on the other side, if you want to do the same rotation we did a few moments ago, then go there. Or if you would like to turn it into a standing big toe, reach down with your right hand and grab hold of the left big toe. So we're going across the body. And now as you kick into the right hand, you're rotating and reaching the left fingertips back behind you in a counter stretch. So you are kicking into that right hand and using the weight of the left arm to counterbalance and keep yourself upright. Check in with your standing knee. Straighten it up. Check in with your upper back. Can you find more height? Go ahead and on the next inhale, come on out of it with control. And exhale everything down. I give the legs a little shake. Nice job. We're going to slow it way down. That was awesome. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the mat, step it back to plank, take it through a flow. All right, inhale, lift the right leg. And on the exhale, step it through next to the right thumb, lower the back knee to the earth. And we're gonna get back to our hamstring, but this time we're gonna take a lot of time here. So we're gonna do this classic flow from lunge to hamstring. So take an inhale. And on the exhale, roll that right leg towards straight. Use the length of your exhale to really spend a lot of time here on that hamstring. And then on the inhale, to gather it all back up, bring it back forward to the lunge. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Take it away on your own time, on your own pace. And I'm going to let you choose your own adventure here. So in this pairing of stretches here between the left hip flexor and the right hamstring, I'm going to let you decide which one you spend a more extended static hold on. And so if you could use some more work in the hip flexor, then by all means hang out in the lunge. You might even deepen it a little bit and bend the back foot and bring it into your quadricep, into almost a couch stretch sort of shape. Or if you would prefer to have some more work on your hamstring, then this half split might be your choice, and or eventually working your way deeper into a full split, since we were working a little bit on hamstrings today. So spend the next few moments just working on this pairing of muscle groups here. And you can continue. If you can't decide, you can just keep floating back and forth between them too. There's no wrong answer. All right, let's slowly begin to walk back out of it any way that's comfortable for you. And we're going to get right into it. Just go right into it from tabletop. So step the left foot forward next to the left thumb and start by flowing back and forth from that lunge, that hamstring stretch. Follow your breath. Proceed slowly. Since this is the second side, your breath has already probably down-regulated, but see if you can now, rather than slowing the heart rate and the breathing rate down, see if you can maybe start to work on extending the volume, extending the richness, using all that space that you have in your lungs. All right, and just like on the other side, this is your cue to choose your own adventure. So if you want to take this into a deeper expression of the splits, if you would like to take this into a deeper expression of your lunge stretch, your hip flexor, your quadricep, go ahead and go there. No, you're good. Sometimes people will ask, how far is too far with stretches? And ultimately, I think there's a few little indicators, all of which are subjective, not objective. So you're not going to get a hard and fast answer from me or from any yoga teacher, but can you breathe in a stretch? You're probably doing fine. Another way of thinking about it is that you should feel a stretch in the belly of the muscle. So the belly being the very middle of it. You shouldn't feel a stretch in a joint. You shouldn't, if there's really nothing in a joint that should be stretched, right? Because joints have connective tissue in the form of ligaments and tendons, and those don't really stretch, they just tear. So you don't want to put yourself into a shape where you feel something sharp in your joint. You always want to feel it in the muscle itself. Something that I have learned too about how far is too far with stretches is that we do these long static stretches after having warmed the muscle with movement. If your stretches cause you to break a sweat again, you're probably pushing yourself a little bit too far, right? Because the idea with these stretches is that you're using the heat and you're using the downhill slope of your practice to relax the body into stretching. Okay, go ahead and slowly make your way back up out of it. And just for fun, let's take it through a few rounds of cat-cow. And then I invite you to take it into any resting pose that feels comfortable for you today. Usually that's Shavasana. Usually that's lying down on the back. For some reason, I am going to take my resting pose in a kneeling position today, just for some seated meditation and mindfulness. And so it's totally up to you. As long as you can close your eyes, as long as you can find a pose that is relaxing, that allows you to breathe, that is your resting pose today. Shavasana. And slowly begin to reawaken the body. Wiggle the fingers, the toes, roll out the wrists, the ankles. Reach the arms overhead toward the back, point the toes toward the front. Take a deep breath and a full body stretch from fingers to toes and everything in between. And then on the exhale, roll over to one side. And then when you're ready, slowly press the floor away and make your way back up to a comfortable seated position, whatever that looks like for you. In stillness and in silence, notice the changes that you've brought about in the breath, in your posture, in the strength, the capacity of the muscles. And certainly in your ability to notice, your ability to maintain focus, your ability to pay attention to what you're doing in the moment that you are doing it. On the next inhale, sweep the arms overhead. Exhale, pull that breath to heart center. Thank you for allowing me to guide you through your practice. Have a beautiful day. Namaste. Thanks, everyone.